Hey guys, how many of you married men have marriage completely figured out? Yeah, me neither. Well, if you've ever wondered what it takes to love your wife well, you're going to want to stick around, because that's exactly what we're going to cover next in this week's bonus session. Oh, yep, go ahead. Hold on. Gallon of milk, loaf of bread. I gotta go. Of manly moments. Well, I've been married for over 20 years now, but if I'm honest, I still make plenty of mistakes when it comes to loving my wife well. That's why I'm so excited today to have my new friend and pastor and author, Larry McCall, join us. How's it going, Larry?
It's going well. Thanks for having me, Robbie.
No problem. Larry has been married for over 40 years now, and he is the educational pastor at Christ Covenant Church in Winona Lake. Larry, can you share a little bit about your wife and your family and your desire to reach men?
Yes. Well, my wife, Gladine, is a wonderful lady. I had to get her young before someone else grabbed her. So I married my high school sweetheart when we were in college, and we've enjoyed this journey together. We got 3 married kids. We have 6 grandkids and a 7th one on the way.
My word.
And you ask about my heart for men. Yeah, I love ministering to men, my own sons-in-law, men in our church, and so glad I'm able to serve you men here today.
Excellent. Well, one of the reasons I invited Larry is because he is the author of a book called Loving Your Wife as Christ Loves the Church. Can you tell us why you wrote this book and how it came to be?
Well, Robbie, I tell guys that I wrote this book for me because I needed this. I mean, we've been married for 43 years, but we still have our struggles. And when I wrote this book, I really wanted to know how to be a better husband. But having been in pastoral ministry for a lot of years, I noticed a lot of men feel like no one ever taught me how to be a husband. They had coaches for their sports, they had someone teach them how to drive, but they never had anyone teach them how to be a husband. So I'm trying to point people to the perfect mentor, Jesus Christ.
Well, it's funny because a lot of guys go into marriage kind of guessing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately they guess wrong. And if they're wise, they learn from their mistakes, but how can that book help us with that?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think the main benefit of this book is it gives men hope. A lot of guys feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what questions to ask, but when they see Jesus Christ as the perfect husband, in fact, the only perfect husband, he loves his wife perfectly, the church. And so we can learn from him. So this book gives hope and it gives help because guys begin to see practical ways in which they can love their wife. And so showing men that and giving them the hope of trying. So men actually begin to pray for their wives, for instance. Or men realize, I should be a spiritual influence on my wife. I never knew how to do that before. This book helps them do that.
I think one of the misconceptions for a lot of guys when they come into church is they think, well, everybody knows everything and I don't know anything. Or everybody's led many people to Christ, I've never led anyone to Christ. But really quite the opposite's true. Many people come into church and they're hungry, they're trying to learn, they just don't know where to go. And you know, as guys, we've got this pride thing that keeps us from asking questions or really admitting or being vulnerable. And so that's what I really like about this book is that it kind of gets past some of those questions and helps men actually grow. I was wondering, Larry, could you share maybe just 1 or maybe 2 nuggets or practical things today that we can actually work on that would improve our marriages?
Yeah.
Anything come to mind?
That's a wonderful question to ask, Robbie. I think what I would like to encourage men, encourage myself, you, other married men, is always go vertical in your orientation to marriage. So often we're just reacting to what's happening. I don't like the way my wife said that. I don't like the fact that my wife forgot that. And we're just reacting to her. But if we go vertical and we remember that God loves me because of Jesus Christ, I can take the love he gives me and pass it on to my wife. He's so patient with me, I can be patient with my wife. He's so forgiving of me, I can be forgiving of my wife. And helping men see, what I call it is to go vertical and then bend it toward our wives. So the gospel helps us take the love of God and bend it toward our wives in a daily way. And I think focusing on that can transform our marriages.
Can you just come move into my house with me? That'd be a big help.
If you want to learn from my mistakes, Robbie, we need to block out lots of time.
Okay. Well, Larry, that's all great stuff. You know, I probably should have written some of that stuff down.
Well, you know, Robbie, it is in the book.
You're right. Speaking of which, how can guys go about getting a copy of your book?
The easiest thing to do would be to get on Amazon. If you get on Amazon, you can see it comes in print, it comes as an ebook, It comes as an audio book. I mean, take your choice. Even if you're not a reader, you can listen to this book. There are other places you can get it, but Amazon's probably the easiest.
I'll have a couple links listed in the description below, so all you have to do is click on. But there's actually one other way you guys can possibly get a free copy of this book, isn't there?
There is.
How's that?
I'm glad to give a copy away.
Guys, what we're going to do is have a drawing. All you have to do is leave a comment below that says, I love my wife. And we'll enter your name into a drawing. If you want to go an extra mile, leave not just I love my wife, but give me why. I love my wife because she's everything to me. Or I love my wife because she completes me. This is your chance, my permission to you to brag on your wife publicly. That'll do two things. One, it'll affirm your wife and she'll feel great. And secondly, if you do the second part, you'll get 2 entries into the drawing. And then next week, we will draw one lucky winner to take home a copy of Loving Your Wife as Christ Loves the Church. And if we're lucky, Larry might even autograph it, right?
I'd be glad to.
And speaking of which, we have to do a drawing from last week's video. For those of you who watched, it was a hockey-themed video. And if you commented, I love hockey, or I love the Comets, you got your name entered into the hat. We've got those names right here in the Man Camp jar. Larry, I'm going to have you draw one lucky winner. Drum roll, please. And that winner is, let's see, Paul Neecom. Way to go, Paul. Paul, you are a winner. You won 4 free tickets to a Comets game. And for the rest of you, don't despair. We're having contests all the time like this one, so make sure to leave that comment below. And we will see you next time for another installment